Welcome to episode 3 of Success Story, where we get a chance to interview people involved in the business world to find out how exactly they have successfully intertwined themselves within the realms of business. My name is Manal, and I'm here with Serena, and we will be leading today's podcast. Today's episode, we will be interviewing Mr. Pugh. Working as an organizational program strategist, Mr. Pugh has been involved in countless projects benefiting the city of Sacramento and beyond. In 2010, Mr. Pugh founded XTG Media, a multimedia production agency providing different media options for business owners. XTG Media has produced high quality and effective production strategies for clients, positively benefiting business owners and communities. In today's podcast, we will be discussing with Mr. Pugh what exactly it takes to run a successful company and the different challenges that come with it.
Okay, so for our first question, what inspired you to create XTG Media, and has the overall intent of this agency changed in any way since it was created?
Yeah, that's a great question, two-part question. And I think what led to me creating this company was my love for digital media. I had, really gotten into photography and gotten into videography. And I wanted to, aside from making my own personal projects, make dynamic media for other organizations so that they could really share with other people how dynamic their organization is or their product or their service. And so I started creating commercial reels for small businesses and nonprofits. I then realized that I could be more successful as a business owner if I was able to diversify the skill sets or the products that I offered. So originally starting off with videos, then moved into doing websites and then into commercial photography and then into podcast production, social media marketing, branding. It just really kind of, expanded from there. So to answer your second question, the things did change. They just kind of expanded so I can meet the need of the client that I was serving in the region.
Okay, thank you. So our second question is going to be, how would you describe the level of importance of having a strong team?
For years, I was a solopreneur, meaning I was doing everything by myself. I was building the websites, I was doing the video editing, shooting the video, doing the photo shoots, and I was getting really burnt out. It was nights in which I was up all night just trying to figure something out for a client, and then also having to go to my day job. And then my wife was telling me, you're going to keep getting burnt out. You need to hire some people. You need to outsource some of the work that you're doing. And I will say that since I started outsourcing some of my work and paying other people to do some of it, I've been able to expand my business tremendously, handle more clients, be more efficient, and be less burnt out. So the hard part is finding quality people who you can trust, who will give the level of quality of work that you would. And so what I've had to do is really focus on the training and selecting good people to surround myself with who really care about the end result and the product that we're giving to our clients. So having a strong team I think is one of the most important elements that you can have to grow your business outside of having a great product or service.
Yeah, I like that. Sometimes you just gotta reach out for help sometimes.
Gotta reach out.
Yes. For our third question, regarding STG Media as a whole, what would you say is the biggest challenge your team has faced, and how was it resolved?
The biggest challenge, well, a lot of people say like when you're a business owner, you're your own boss. And I say that when you're a business owner, everybody who pays you is your boss. So because I have multiple clients, I have multiple bosses. So being able to manage the relationships with all these different people who have different expectations, different timelines, different needs for their projects. And I think that's one of the most challenging aspects of having a business, and realizing that not everybody's going to communicate the same way. Not everybody's going to pay the same way or on time or you know, give you the communication or whatever you need to be successful. So you just really got to manage that. So I think how I've been able to deal with that is really kind of creating a process of setting a standard for communication, being very clear on the deliverables, having contracts, things in writing, explaining to people, educating them on the products and services that I offer so that they understand what I do, what I don't do, and how the products and services that I provide you will help them reach their overall goals.
Thank you for that. So our next question is, as the founder of XTG Media, how do you continue to stay creative and innovative?
Working with young people, you know, it keeps me my ear to the ground. I think right now I have two of my former CCR students working for me. One's my social media coordinator, the other one's my video producer, and I think I have a lot of skills in both of those categories, but they are so much more creative. I mean, they tell me about the new trends and how to edit things and putting music to it. It's just like, you know, it's amazing when you just allow people to operate in their gifts and what they do well and get out of the way. Like, I don't try to micromanage. I just say, hey, what do you think is going to be best for this? And, you know, go run with your ideas. And then if we need to change it, we'll come back and we'll change it. But I want to see your creativity first. And I think that's allowed me to kind of stay fresh, stay creative, stay on top of things. I mean, there's so many apps out right now. It's so hard to keep on top of what's new and what's current that I have to have somebody who's like who's, you know, involved with you know, on top of these things to say to me like, hey, we should really try to use this or try to use that, or, you know, incorporate this into it. It'll make it look that much better. So that's really helped me a lot.
Yeah, yeah, you got to keep up with what's new, keep up with what people like. I like that.
Right.
So, what was your favorite project you've worked with for XDG Media, and what effect did it have on your community?
My favorite project is a documentary that I've created called Surrender, a store rhythm restoring soul. I forget the title, but it was named Surrender. It was a documentary, and it was a hip hop artist and a classically trained pianist. Their husband and wife, and he was also kind of like a spoken word artist. And what we did is we filmed his performances and even some of his practice sessions for the performances that he was doing. For an album that he made. He's an educator too. He works in public schools. And so he wrote an album about his students, just really talking about their experiences in life, how he wanted to support them, how he helped them. It was just a phenomenal, soulful project. And we went to LA. We recorded here in Sacramento. We recorded in DC. And I think what was so beautiful for me was one that I love the music. So, I mean, it's like almost filming a music video when you really like the music, but also the story behind it was so amazing. I remember I was in DC and I interviewed one of his students that he wrote a song about, right? And she talked about how his music really impacted her. She had, you know, had gone through some things in life that made her want to take her life. And she talked about how her relationship with him and his music gave her a new sense of hope. And, you know, I'm sitting there behind the camera listening to her tell her story. And, you know, she's tearing up, I'm tearing up. It was almost as if the cameras weren't there. But I got a chance to record a moment, capture a moment that of how humanity works, how we're all so connected and how things impact each other and showing how important people's lives are. And so for me, that project was fun, entertaining. It resonated with me, but it was important to show how important it was important to highlight how valuable our young people are. And so he's very similar to me, always working with young people, feels incredibly blessed to impact and mentor young people. So that project was like, to this day, you know, that was an easy question. I knew exactly what project stood out to me the most.
Wow, it's really deep.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah, it sounds dope. But we actually have one more question for you. So,
Mhm.
in the near future, what are your hopes and goals in terms of the achievements you wish to see under this agency?
You know, um, for a long time, I wanted my business to grow big enough where all I did was media. For many years, media was like my secondary job. But now I'm 100%, employed by myself in XTG Media, and I'm able to live better than what I did as a college and career counselor, which was great. And I think now I just want more projects that wake me up in the middle of the night because I'm feeling so creative about what I want to do. I want more projects that challenge me uh, to create something that has not been done before or done differently. Um, you know, One of the things that I always wanted to do is there's a photographer that I follow named James Quantz, and he does these commercial photo shoots for the Atlanta Falcons, the Charlotte Hornets. He does it for the Navy. And he gets these athletes and he takes these dynamic photos of them for all of their commercial and marketing needs. And I thought to myself, like, wow, it would be so dope to be able to work with a sports team and create these commercial images and stuff like that. So for like 2 years, I went out and bought all this super expensive equipment. Like I'm talking about lighting, cameras, everything. And I was just practicing in my garage and doing all this other stuff and practicing. And then I got a phone call last February, and the athletic director at American River College asked me to come over and be their full-time sports photographer and cover all the games, and then also do these media days where I'm creating these sports commercial photo shoots. And so I'm kind of living a dream right now in the sense that I get to do all the things that I prayed about years ago now. Like Wednesday, I'll be shooting a super specialized commercial photo shoot for the baseball team and showing off their new uniforms and their custom gloves and hats and glasses and stuff. So, um, I, it just opens so many doors. I mean, just yesterday, I was sitting on the floor at Golden One Arena photographing the NCAA tournament. Like that was a big dream, to be able to sit in these arenas. I last week I photographed the Kings game against the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm doing Major League Baseball and NFL. So I'm running out of things to kind of reach for, but I will find something to keep me motivated. But I'm enjoying all of the different opportunities that I'm getting. I mean, I'm creating stuff for nonprofits and small businesses. It's so cool to have a camera and to get into these spaces and to meet these different people and to interact with these athletes or nonprofits who are doing great work in the community. It just has all because I have a camera and I took the time to study media and study business. I didn't go to school for business. I have a child development bachelor's degree, executive leadership master's degree, and working on a doctorate in human resources workforce development. But I never studied business and I never studied media. So that was, me just putting in, tens of thousands of hours on YouTube and watching tutorials to create this. And so I'm really proud of the fact that I built this from the ground up and finding new ways to expand.
Love that. But with that, we're actually going to go ahead and conclude this episode of our podcast. We thank you, Mr. Pugh, for taking the time to be in this episode, as well as all of you for listening. And we hope you guys continue to join us as we continue to release new episodes of this podcast.